Brother Red Pill representing Know the Ledge, one half of the Twin Pillars. I am here rocking with Crumb TV.
And, you are watching Crumb TV.
You can find me on Crumb TV.
You can catch me on Crumb TV.
This is Chief Kalanago here at Crumb TV.
I am Joy Allen of the Memoirs of a Karmic Dynasty in the Crumb TV studio.
Honored to be on your program, brother.
Peace.
Peace.
Crumb.
Hey, you are now watching Crumb TV.
Crumb TV.
Hey, we in Chicago, y'all, and y'all watching Crumb TV.
It's your brother, Tim Buck 2, I say.
You are now watching Crumb TV.
You in Chi-Town finest, you hear me? Inglewood, always up to no good. Man, I'm telling my brother Crumb.
You're watching Crumb TV.
I'm your humble brother, and you are watching Crumb TV. Reporting live from the Wild Hunters, Southside Chicago.
And you now watching Crumb TV.
And you're watching Crumb TV. Crumb TV, baby. Hey.
Crumb.
Brother Red Pill representing Know the Ledge, one half of the...
You are now watching Crumb TV.
You're watching Crumb TV.
This is Prema Osset in Los Angeles, Leimert Park, and you are now watching Crumb TV.
You are watching Crumb TV.
And we're watching Crumb TV.
You are now watching.
Hello, everybody. Recording live from somewhere.
Peace, everybody. Peace. What's happening? Good brother Crom. Peace in the building. Boy, they checking in early. They're checking in early. So listen, Crom. In good housekeeping, I'm gonna allow you to do your thing with your first responders and get in the introduction, getting everybody in the room, getting the space. Y'all already know pens and papers. Keep an open mind. You know what I'm saying? Don't believe nothing we saying. Go do your own research. We're gonna talk for about an hour 45 maybe. Take good notes. You know what I'm saying? This is just for entertainment and educational purposes only. I'll leave you to the introduction, Brother Crum.
If you could, please repeat after me. Peace, Ashe, Islam, Namaste, Hotep, Grand Rising, Assalamu alaikum, Walaikum salam, Bundia, Oseo, Halito, Wagwan. What up, though? Rahubet, Shalom, Salam, Dua'u, Zakpase, Waza. Whatever the greeting is in your respective language, I am your humble brother Crum with the Minister of Information. And this is Happy Thanksgiving Massacre. Shout out to all the family. We want to acknowledge all of the first responders. Now, within the first 7 minutes, there's more than 83 first responders. So for the sake of time, me personally, I'm the first three. And if the minister wants to continue, that is totally up to him. Number one in the building of the perfect trifecta, it's S-Pon Chess, representing that red, white, and blue flag. He says, hi. And he taps back in with a more in-depth by saying love and respect all the way from the UK. In the spirit of S-Pon Chess, since he is a first responder, well, the number one first responder, I wanted to ask if we can, as usual, do a roll call, city, state, zip, country, island, coast, whatever the case may be. Shout out to all of you. Number two in the building of this perfect trifecta. My audio seems to be tweaking just a little bit, Minister. I want to apologize for that. I should have done this in the beginning.
All good, all good. Man, jump on the Wi. Are you on Wi-Fi?
I may be. I'm gonna turn it off right now. There's someone in the somebody in the comments, and they put KC, Missouri. I want to give a big shout out to Missouri. I want to give a big shout out to everybody on the Mississippi. If you're on the Mississippi, I want to give a big shout out to you in terms of this particular live. Kansas City is 4 hours.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, your mic got you sound like Voltron, bro.
Okay, I'm gonna leave and come back.
All right, cool. Missouri, you know what? Well, brother gonna tap out and tap back in to get his audio right, but there's a lot of rich history, man, around Missouri, Mississippi, Arkansas, all the way up into like places like Chicago and all those places, man, like deep, rich history. And just like the bro had said, everywhere along the Mississippi River, rich culture. Oklahoma, Tulsa, Oklahoma in the building. We already know the rich history behind Tulsa, Oklahoma. And that community was one of the biggest so-called Indian reservation There was, because they pushed all of the ancestors up out of places like the Gullah Sea Islands along South Carolina and Georgia. And we're going to get like all the way into it. We're going to get all the way into it. And I know on some of my platforms I'm talking right now, people have never heard me talk in this capacity, but man, let me tell you something, man. It's so much information in history that we have to, I'm not gonna say we have to, because it's your choice, but that we should look into. A lot of rich history. But Tulsa, Oklahoma, for those of you who have been under a rock and know not of Tulsa, Oklahoma is where the famous Gap Band is from. Charlie Wilson and the boys. Gap Band. And the Gap Band, if you didn't know, GAP stands for Greenwood, Orchard, and Pine. Those are the three intersection streets or avenues in Tulsa, Oklahoma, where Black Wall Street was at. And the famous song, You Dropped a Bomb on Me, was in reminiscence of the Tulsa City Massacre. And that's why we're talking about Thanksgiving Massacre. Because America has a crazy history, y'all. Nothing to be ashamed of. This is part of healing, right? This is part of the healing process. We got to talk about it. And we dare not let this history be lost. This history will not be lost. A lot of our people don't know about it at all. But back to Tulsa, Oklahoma. Tulsa, Oklahoma was taught to be one of the richest areas in America at a time that so-called Negroes, which we'll talk about the conversion of our indigenous ancestry being converted under what's called paper genocide to be called Negroes in the first place. But Tulsa, Oklahoma was a prominent community, but this was 1920, 1921, early part of the 20th century. Did you know there was another community prior to Tulsa, Oklahoma called Weeksville, aka Bedford-Stuyvesant, later known as that. Weeksville, Brooklyn. Weeksville is a historic neighborhood founded by free African Americans. Free. Never were enslaved. Free. The freedmen. In what is now Brooklyn, New York. Now it's Brooklyn, New York. Today's part of the present time Crown Heights. This is Weeksville. We're talking 1838. And Tulsa, Oklahoma is 1920. The point I'm making is we've been doing this. These are all so-called black people because the land belongs to us anyway.
Brother, could I add value to that real quick?
Please.
So just like we're dealing with Oklahoma, just like we're dealing with Black Wall Street and that particular area, that area was Indian reservation. You got to be clear on that, family. That was Indian reservation. So what he's showing you right now, that is also Indian territory. It's so-called Indian. And the Indian name for that area, which he just told you was Crown Heights, was originally, when we lived there, before we called it Weeksville, it was called Crow Hill. CROWHILL, Crow Hill. And it was us there. That was always us. Crown Heights, Weeksville is also Crow Hill. That was the Aboriginal name, if that's what you want to refer to it as. But continue, please.
Crow Hill? Let's deal with that. Crow Hill. Is it Crow Hill, New York, or just Crow Hill?
Yeah, let's try Crow Hill, Brooklyn.
Wow.
Come on, somebody. Come on, somebody.
The original name right here. Wow.
Minister, could you read that, please?
The origin of the name Crow Hill disputed, but it's most likely stem from either a derogatory term used for the African American population in Weeksville and Carsville, or from black and white striped uniform worn by the incarcerated men at the penitentiary.
I'm not playing with nobody.
So I want to point out a couple things before we move forward, because I don't think we really quite got to 100 viewers yet. Yes, we have. Okay, cool. Great. Because y'all know we're not going to start to hit 100 viewers. But it's interesting that they put the word penitentiary, because what I'm about to take off with is only time you see places where there's penitentiaries is either crime or there's war. Penitentiary is just another name for work camps. They were called work camps. In the South, in the early 60s and 50s, they were called chain gang. But these are all POW camps. And on these POW camps, it's a work camp. So you're made to work or labor or toil without pay. And that's how we're going to show you how slavery and the out of Africa theory, and hopefully highlight some indigenous people here in Northwest America, or North America, Central America, and South America, the Americas, because we all didn't come from Africa. And this is no shot at the African brothers and sisters, you know, it's all love. But I really think it's just time to dive more into our history here. You know what I'm saying? And I want to do my due diligence by highlighting how rich our culture is, and how through history many have emulated the rich culture of what they call indigenous Americans. I think they just, in your mind, they gave you another image of another people, and it never showed you these beautiful images. People look like us. They are us. These are our ancestors here in North America. And the establishment before European invasion, we're not taught what this place looked like. Those of us in North America, we're not taught what this place looked like prior to the invasion of so-called pilgrims. The history starts right at the invasion of Plymouth Rock. But there's a long, rich history that there's no curriculum that I've ever seen. So when you go looking for this information, it's quite apparent that there was an entire empire here. There was an entire empire here, infrastructure here prior to the colonists. And for some people, they're not interested in it. That's okay. But the goal today is, when the next time you hear Thanksgiving, we change the images in your mind about what really was happening here. The next time you hear Thanksgiving or Columbus Day, we're just hoping to change the narrative in your head of what really took place here, what really happened. The brainwashing, the lies. How many Native Americans were sold as slaves during the 4th century between the arrival of Columbus and the beginning of the 20th century? Some 2.5 to 5 million so-called Native Americans were enslaved. All European empires took part in this human traffic. The English, the French, the Dutch, and the Portuguese. Notice they left Spain out of there. 2.5 to 5 million. This is the slave trade. As is taught in America, you came out of Africa. But we're gonna talk about all this, man. You know, we ain't gonna give too much away. I just want people to understand what happened. Pequot, the Pequot tribe, Pequot people. This is up in Boston, Massachusetts area. We're gonna go from Boston, Canada, all the way down to Florida, East Coast. All the dark-skinned so-called Negro Indian tribes. Happy Thanksgiving. All right, Crown, you ready to get into this, man? I'm gonna pull up the 100-year Indian War piece, and we can start from there if you want. I think we got everybody's attention now.
Well, before we get into the 100-Year War, the Mississippi River is parallel, not physically, but in comparison, is parallel with the Nile River, and we know that the Nile Valley life started at the bottom, which technically was the top, at the bottom, and it flowed up. And at the top of the Nile River, which is at the Mediterranean, is the delta of the Nile. And at the bottom of the Mississippi, where the Gulf of Mexico is the the bottom of the Mississippi River. The bottom of the Mississippi is the delta, because it was a triangle. Well, when the European came over, the Tamahu, the Troglodyte, the Flugeride, whatever you want to call them, when they came over, they had their own delta, meaning this triangle. It was called Jamestown. The Jamestown Delta was a fort in the shape of a triangle, and they were right there on the beach because they couldn't go too far inland in fear of getting their butts kicked. So now they were about to starve to death. You know, this whole Thanksgiving massacre, we outnumbered them 100-1. There was no way they were going to have any military campaign against us whatsoever. That first family, I am personally from that area by Jamestown. The winters are only 3 months, and there's maybe 2 months that is harsh out of that 3 months. So that winter they went through wasn't even for real. So that winter they lost all their food because they were poorly funded by the Virginia Company, and they were eating the dead. When you bury your dead, their skin gets hard and whatever like this. This is where jerky comes from. The practice of jerkying meat came from them eating the dead in Jamestown. This is how bad off they were. So you already know our people. You know, we feel more deeply than any other people on the face of the earth, and that does include sympathy and compassion. And I would say we are sympathetic and compassionate to a fault. So now you have I think it was the Potomac people, and the daughter of the chief of the Potomac people. It might be the wrong tribe. Forgive me. Her name was Pocahontas. I'm sorry, Pocahontas. It was Pocahontas. Excuse me.
Very stupid, man.
And they needed her because there was never going to be a military campaign to just come over here and run ish. But they right there it is, the delta, and that's that. You know, just like the top of the Nile was the African delta, the bottom of the Mississippi was the American delta. Right here on Jamestown, that was the European delta, the triangle. That girl right there, that white girl with the little whatever on, she was 14 years old. They ate that girl. They ate her. There was Canada. That's how bad off they were. They weren't ready to fight no damn military campaign 100-1. They was eating their babies. But then Pocahontas got with one of them. She didn't get with John Smith. She got with somebody else. But she got with them.
Hold on. I don't mean to cut your wisdom because the brother's on fucking fire right now. But listen, if you just jumping on, if you're just tuning in, because a lot of people just got on in the last like 3 minutes, 4 or 5 minutes. I'm sorry. Brother Crom, is starting at the settlements of Jamestown. This is where we are taught in school about Thanksgiving, the Pilgrims, remember, and the Indians. So he's giving you the real history of the beginning settlement of Jamestown and those areas in Virginia. And so just in case you just hopped on, brother's on fire. Please continue though.
Right. They weren't eating no turkeys. They were eating babies. What are you guys talking about? What are you guys talking about? So now they use a woman, because remember, the woman is the key, Pocahontas, and they infiltrate through the bloodline and say we have a right to be here because Pocahontas's son want to come back to the land, and they infiltrated through Pocahontas's son. There was never ever a way that they were going to come over here through any military campaign. We outnumbered them vastly, and the only reason we didn't off them is because there was a lot of infighting. But nonetheless, so through Pocahontas's son, they claim legitimacy to be over here. So the Thanksgiving was babies, and the military campaign was sexual. Let's be clear on that, family. Let's be clear on that. They R. Kelly their way over here.
Whoa. Time out. Say it again now. He said, say it one more time, you just said?
They were able to come over here and not get scalped because of Pocahontas's son. So they had a legitimate reason to be over here, just like the fucking Dreamers. America says, if a Mexican comes over here, they will deport them. But if the Mexican has a baby over here, then the Mexican has legitimate business in America because the baby is born in America. Because there was no way that they were going to strong arm their way over here. That was not going to happen. I don't care how much infighting we were doing. They didn't have enough manpower. They didn't have enough supplies. They didn't have enough people. They didn't have enough weapons. But they had a bloodline. They infiltrated through the bloodline of Pocahontas. That's why all of y'all know her, and you damn near don't know nobody else. Well, Crumb, I don't know about no Indians, but you do know Pocahontas, right? Oh, well, yeah, I do know her. Disney, right? Yeah, Disney made a movie about her because that's how they claimed their legitimacy to be over here, and that's why we tolerated them.
Wow.
But let me fast forward to the 100-Year War. I just want to throw that out there really quickly because we definitely.
Boy, you was on Waka Flocka Flame with that one, man. Okay.
So
wow.
this is Jamestown. That's the very first one. This is they were financed by the Virginia Company. The very first colony was in Virginia. Let's fast forward to the 12 colonies. Stop saying 13. It was 12. The very bottom was South Carolina. Every you know how much everything is? Everything under South Carolina was Florida, owned by Spain. Everything under South Carolina was Florida, owned by Spain. What are you talking about? What are you guys talking about? So now, it was the Stono Rebellion. This is under the South Carolina Christian Black Codes. I'm sorry, I think it's called the Black Codes.
Yeah, Christian Black Codes.
The Christian Black Codes. So now, because the whole thing about slavery wasn't even what you thought it was. You know, under the Christian Black Codes, they say, okay, you guys you got to stay on the plantation. You can't come off. What do you mean, Crumb? You mean like we weren't in? No, nobody was in chains. Niggas walking around. Niggas on Sunday doing barbecues and shit. Niggas was chilling under the auspice of being a slave. If you go look at them Christian Black Codes, that's right. The Christian Black, who gonna pay you reparations? You pass the pork chop, because those were your slave masters, these Christians. Anyway, so now under the Christian codes, they had shit like, okay, no more playing the drums. Because what kicked off the 100-Year War? The war drum. Kanye West 808 drums. We had those first, Kanye. What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
War drums?
The war drum. According to the South Carolina Christian Black Codes, you guys can no longer play the war drums. When you guys play war drums, we get scared. When there's a lot of bass in the trunk, Europeans get scared. So under the Christian Black Codes, they said you can't play the war drums. No more barbecues on Sunday. You can't walk around town willy-nilly. And if you look at those Christian codes, you'd be like, damn, well, if they implemented that, then what did slavery really look like? Because it sounded like niggas was chilling for real. So the Stono Rebellion, a bunch of brothers ran up in the gun shop. They ran in the gun shop. They looted the place. They took every gun in the gun shop and wreck shop in South Carolina. It was called the Stono Rebellion. This is what kicked off a 100-year war. This is the beginning. Can you click that historic marker, brother, please?
You see
the Stono Rebellion is the largest slave insurrection in the British North America. Began nearby on not 9/11, but 9/9, 1789. Oh, Abraham Lincoln got us free. No, he didn't. No, this is how the whole so-called slavery thing ended. This is why you call yourselves prisoners of war. This is what kicked off the war. They weren't slaves, they were rebels. The rebels marched south towards promised freedom in Spanish Florida. Directly underneath South Carolina. There was no such thing as Georgia at the time. That was Florida. Alabama, Georgia, Florida, South Carolina. I'm sorry, I keep saying South Carolina. Alabama. What's next to Alabama? What's next to Alabama?
Mississippi.
All of that was Florida. Spain got family. Go look up, brother, if you want to, you can look up the oldest city in America. The oldest city in America. It's in Florida. I think it starts with a C. Yep. There you go. And those maps aren't even accurate maps because again, there was no such. There we go. This is the 1500s. This is right after your boy Christopher Colombo. This is right after him.
Well, hold on. I want to add a little something to that because you're in my territory now. When you said that, so this is crazy. I want everybody to please try to keep up. I just want to give a quick notice. Please try to keep up. Write it down. This is going to be on YouTube. You go back and watch it later, whatever the case is. But please try to keep up. All right. This is not a history 101 class. This is definitely a 9/9 class. But I mean, not a 9/9 class. It's definitely a upper academia class we're giving right here. So try to keep up. You have to know a little bit about history to know what we're talking about. Otherwise, you're just lost. But still listen, though. Please listen. So we have to understand, the brother said Christopher Columbus. Christopher Columbus came to the territories twice, actually. The first time, he never made it all the way nowhere. He made it to what's known now as the British Islands. He made it to one of the far. He didn't come nowhere inland at all the first time, and he went back Not that he went back to, because you got to remember who gave Christopher Columbus the scout ships to come over here. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna allow Brother Crumb to come back to the 100-year Indian War, but I want to set up the predecessor to what kicked off the 100-year Indian War. What gave the Europeans the notion that they can float across the pond, and take something from somebody, because this was under confiscation. This was done under basically war acts of war, pretty much. So let's keep that in mind. Here we go, right here. Christopher Columbus sailed in what year?
1492.
1492. This is a papal bull that was issued by Pope Alexander VI on May 4th, 1493, which granted Catholic monarch King Fernando of Aragon and Queen Elizabeth of Castile the lands of the West. The lands of the West is over here. This is northwest of Maxim. Now, if you're not quite clear what a papal bull is, it's a edict or an announcement, a decree, a patent or charter issued by the Pope of the Catholic Church. It is named after the leading seal, bulla, traditionally appended to authenticate it. So that's what a papal bull is. A papal bull. That's a ecclesiastical announcement made by the Pope. Now, why am I stressing the fact it's made by the Pope? Because the brother said earlier, dealing with Christianity, right? And this is no shot to the brothers and sisters in Christ. I'm not talking about y'all. I'm talking about the religious folks. People know the difference between being religious and being spiritual. So I'm not talking to nobody that's spiritual. But what I'm saying is the Christian era, this was under a Christian mandate. The Christians said that we have the right to conquer all the lands west. And we're going to dive into what the Indica Terror specifically said, because it basically said you can conquer anybody that was an infidel, meaning the indigenous people of all the lands. Now, this is prior to the brother mentioning the Virginia Company and the London Tea Company that later became it became the form of government under conquest. So anyway, so this is called the Indica Terra Covenant, 1493. This gave dominion from Spain. This is under the Spanish. Now, why Spain? Because now you have to remember, prior to this being issued, the Moors was just conquered. And you had what's also called the Spanish Inquisition. But this papal bull gave permission. That's why Columbus is over here in the first place in 1492. Actually, 1489 he came. He came back in 1492. In 1492, that's the big hype. That's the slogan, because he came back with those ships. Remember the Nenta, the Pinta, the Santa Maria, those Spanish ships, because Spain had the biggest. They had the biggest navy. It's called the what was it called, brother? The Spanish Armada. That's how Columbus got those ships to come over here. But anyway, to pass the mic back, Ponce de Leon came back with Christopher Columbus. And Ponce de Leon, once he came back, because remember, this is Spain. They're expanding their empire now. Ponce de Leon became the governor of what was known then Richport. And he set up a church in what's now known as St. Augustine, Florida. And because he set that church up, the Spanish had claim to the entire property, Florida, Alabama, Louisiana, because Cortez had already explored those territories for Spain. Now, later, Spain sells Louisiana to the French, and the French sells it back. And we'll talk about the Treaty of Paris in a minute also. But these are all documentations. This is just information that we have done the research on, that we implore you guys to go back and fact check us on this. So that's how deep we're going to be on this conversation. All right, bro, I'll pass the mic. You go back to 100-year Indian War.
Yes, sir. So this whole 13 colony thing is a very convoluted story. So at this particular time, it was only 12 colonies, South Carolina being at the very bottom. Under South Carolina, directly under South Carolina, was Florida, which was owned by Spain. So now there's a Stono rebellion. They rob the gun store. They shoot up everything: men, women, kids, dogs, any tree that bears fruit. Cut that ish down.
Damn.
They turned up at the Stono rebellion. So after they turned up in the Stono rebellion, they bailed out of town. I am so sick of you necros talking about running north towards freedom. Why would anybody run north to freedom? You got to go through North Carolina, Virginia. You got to go through all of that mess. Ain't nobody running north. We went south. So when we went south, we created, now, because these so-called Indians are actually the so-called Negroes. So these so-called Indians or so-called Negroes, whatever you want to call them, they kick ass in Stono, South Carolina, go down to at that time what was known as Florida, and they create a fort called Fort Negro. And this wasn't no kumbaya, we believe in peace. They had the babies learning how to, because they had a treaty with Spain. Spain said, yeah, you can come in our land, no problem, under two conditions. You got to speak Spanish and you got to convert to Catholicism. As long as you're good with our religion and you good with our language, then you can come out here and chop it up with us. Nobody's tripping on you. So they came down there, they established Fort Negro, they spoke a plethora, I'm using some big words on you, a cornucopia of languages. They spoke all types of languages, including Spanish. So they create Fort Negro, and they chilling because there's no slavery, there's no oppression, but the European, they finally built that 13th colony. Oh, matter of fact, here, really quickly, I just want to give respect is due. The oldest city in America is St. Augustine. A lot of people in the comments were saying that. The oldest city in America is St. Augustine, Florida, because, that's where the Spanish were at. Anyway, so now they're in Fort Negro, and they're living peacefully. They got their guns. They're self-sufficient. They're super smart. They speak a bunch of languages, all types of really good stuff. Very impressive. So now, what happens? They the Europeans with their 12 colonies.
Oh man, we lost him. We lost him. We lost the brother. We lost the connection. Okay, here you go.
Brother, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. The Europeans,
you back on.
The Europeans are having problems because the real slaves were Slavics, Tamahu, Troglodyte, Flugelrod. They were the slaves in the 12 colonies, and the slaves kept running away. A lot of them slaves ran away, and they were the ones who went west, and they integrated. They amalgamated with the natives and the so-called Africans, and became the Melungeons. But I don't want to talk about that right now. I want to talk about the slaves who ran away, the Tamahu, Troglodyte. Fuck. Sorry. I want to talk about the Tamahu, the Troglodyte, and the Flugelrods that ran away. When they ran away, the European had a solution. what we're going to do is we're going to create a 13th colony, and it's going to be a slave state, a slave colony, a penal colony. That colony was the colony of Georgia. So this is about the time your boy comes into play. This is the war. The biggest warlord they had, or I guess the most chivalrous lunatic warlord they had, was none other than Andrew Jackson. Remember, at this time, to be a president, your ass got to have a certain amount of bodies under you. George Washington was a warlord. Abraham Lincoln was a warlord. Andrew Jackson was a warlord. Who's the guy on the $50 bill? Ulysses Grant was a warlord. If you want to be president, right? If you want to be president, you got to fight and defend these British colonies. So good old Andrew Jackson has ambitions of conquering, and he goes around taking over shit. Andrew Jackson won't no joke. I'm not gonna lie to nobody. I think Andrew Jackson was the one who ran niggas out of Georgia. He ran niggas out of Alabama. He ran niggas out of like Kentucky or something. Like it was 3 or 4 states.
Well. See, Andrew Jackson got his highlight as a rookie when he was a colonel, and the War 1812 is where. Yeah, everybody, listen. Hold on, I just want to give notice. Now we're at 200 viewers. A lot of y'all just hopping on here. Get your pen and your pad, take notes. Don't believe a word we say. This is just information. This is history. And I want to deal with a question. I'm gonna go back to that, brother. I'm gonna deal with a question. Where does it go? Right here. I'm gonna deal with Rob Lee question, and I'm also deal with what you just put out. Georgia was established or founded by a man by the name of James Oglethorpe. Look up James Oglethorpe. In fact, right now in Georgia, Oglethorpe County. Read the history of Oglethorpe County in Georgia. Mr. Oglethorpe decided to settle the area now known as Georgia under a charter, given permission from Britain to settle the territory. But he couldn't settle the territory until he got permission from the local tribe. And one of the local tribes was the Yamakra. Now, part of today's lessons for you guys to also learn about the so-called Negro Indian tribes also. And I don't want to get into breaking down the difference between Indian and indigenous, but I want y'all to learn about all the tribes, not just the one that shows y'all on TV with cowboys and Indians, but I want you guys to know about the other people. So the Yamakra people were the ones who had the province of Georgia sold up pretty much. And James Oglethorpe came into contact with Chief Tamachichi. And Chief Tamachichi of the Yamakra, who were akin to the Yamansi Indians. You got the Yamasee and you got the Yamakra. Let me just show y'all. I don't want nobody to think I'm making up these names. And I'm gonna pass the mic right back. I want y'all to just see what I'm talking about. So the other one was the Yamakra. This right here is the Yamasee. You see that? And then you had other tribes like the Wichita or the Raccoon people who come from the Mississippi. These were the people that Andrew Jackson would later, under the fucking order of the governor. The governor is a elected seat. James Oglethorpe was the first governor. He governed the territory of Georgia. And Colonel Andrew Jackson just got praised for the War of 1812 for doing a phenomenal job. He was now hired by James Oglethorpe to clear the territory called Georgia, while meaning James Oglethorpe, he took Chief Tamachichi from Georgia over to Europe. Fine linen, gave him the best tea, just, put him in the VIP suite, doing it up big. Meanwhile, they were starting a war campaign in Georgia while Chief Tamachichi was away. And that's when Andrew Jackson got with James Oglethorpe's son, Robert Duval, because all the raids from the Yamansi now at this time, the Yamansi, the Yamacraw, the Geechee Gullah, and the Seminole had all linked up. And because Florida belonged to Spain, that's where they all met up at. If you notice, it's a no time hours drive from Florida to South Carolina, or Florida to Georgia or Alabama. It's a quick drive, under 4 hours sometimes, right? So these Indian tribes, they had clicked up. They would come into places like Georgia and they would attack these white or European squatters, because the Europeans would run from the colonies down south for freedom. That's what the brother was saying earlier. These white indentured servants had to do 7 years and they would be set free. Well, a lot of them, upon being set free after their 7 years of basically helping to build a colony, a lot of them didn't have any territory and land to claim. This was before hedge rights, before they began to give out territory to Europeans, before then. So a lot of them would do 3 or 4 years and run away, and they were the first runaways. But they would also get with these Indian tribes along the way, on the way down to Georgia. So to this question real quick, and I'm going to pass the mic, can you explain why why go north to freedom was indoctrinated in history? Absolutely. The second slave trade, let's deal with it. The second slave trade. There was another slave trade because, see, slave trading was outlawed. This is what you got to know the history. Slavery, as far as transporting bodies back and forth from Africa to anywhere, was outlawed in 1806. So in America, something called the what was the historical name for it? The I'm just gonna put the second Atlantic slave trade, and it's gonna show me the actual name of it. But this is the second. Say again?
Antebellum?
Nah. And this was also the scene in the movie 12 Years a Slave. All right. Let me share my screen real quick and show you, so we can all get on the same page real quick. Share screen. There we go. Let me just. So this is the second Atlantic slave trade. I'm explaining why the narrative of running north for freedom came about, right? The second Atlantic system was the trade of enslaved Africans by mostly English, French, Dutch, and traders and investors. This is the main part: investors, stockholders, stockbrokers, Lombards, capitalists. The main destination of these phases were the Caribbean islands, Kirkos, Jamaica. European nations built up an economy, economically, slave-dependent colonies in the New World. So this is a slave trade that took place in America, where they actually took slaves from places like New York. This is the slave trade that affected us the most, right? Not this one. Over here in the Americas, as we're talking about these different tribes of Florida right here, right? This is where the Seminole, the Yamacraw, you go up a little further, you have the Natchez, you have the Pamunkey. You go up a little bit farther, you have the Pequot. And these were the Algonquin speaking tribes up here. Then out west, you have later Lakota and Dakota. We're going to talk about all the tribes, but the point is, it was millions of Native Americans in these areas that were shipped from here down to here. This is the slave trade that affects us the most. Likewise, like the movie 12 Years a Slave, if you guys have never seen that movie, I'm not going to play it. I'm just going to pull it up real quick. I want to explain what was going on in the movie for those who have not seen, those who have seen it. In this movie, 12 Years a Slave, he was in New York with his family. He was a free man. And he was kidnapped. Listen to the narrative. He was kidnapped while he was in D.C. playing the violin. This is 12 years a slave. And they put him on a cargo ship. This is what they tell you slave ships look like. I lived in Virginia 20 years, bro. You from Virginia too. They would have the Harbor Fest in Virginia. They would have the Harbor Fest in Virginia every year. And the Harbor Fest in Virginia, they bring those huge sailboats in. Those were supposedly the slave ships. They're not ships, they're boats, schooners. Look up the word. I'll show you what a schooner is in a minute. Frigates, small cargo vessels. So in this scene right here, the brother was kidnapped from New York and they let him off down Louisiana. And when he got off the boat, this is the scene when they got off the boat. The white dude right here, just like in the movie Roots, slapped him and changed his name right there on the pier. Now, there's a lot of science I can get into right there. Oh, man, the sister. Come on, sister. I know that's right. Oh, praise Allah. She already on it, too. It sucks when the truth enters the scene. We have been lied to and given a false narrative. It's still our birthright. Let's talk about that for a second as well, because in this scene right here, he slaps him and gives him a new name at the port because they could not come off that dock without a certificate. This is called a berthing. They came off the water as cargo. They're now placed under what's called maritime and admiralty law. This is a court proceeding. And the guy with the top hat on is the judge. As soon as they come off that pier and touch that land, they're under his jurisdiction. And he has the right to change their name, their status. He had a name. He's a free man. What happened to my nationality? What just happened? A boat ride, I get off? Yeah. Paper genocide. This is how it happened in real life. So that movie 12 Years a Slave talks about, and it was thousands of so-called Negroes being captured and brought down to the South because cotton didn't kick off until a little bit later. And they needed more hands to pick that cotton. So they would transport Negroes from the North and bring them down South. And to keep them in the South, they invoked things like the Fugitive Slave Act. That was invoked later. They had other laws they invoked. The Black Christian Code was one of them, he mentioned earlier, to keep these people in a systemic work labor force and never come out of it. But the reason they ran back north is because they were from the North. This brother was from New York. Well-spoken man. He's in Louisiana. He know how to get back up north. He's going to go back up north. It wasn't for freedom. It's because they were from the North. They were from home. They were from D.C. They were from Maryland. They were from Connecticut. And they got kidnapped. They're not from Africa. He's from here. But these are all indigenous Indians of North America. All right. I yield the floor. Because we ain't gonna never get to Indian. We're gonna never get into 100-year Indian War. Let's get into the Indian War, bro.
So yeah, now Andrew Jackson is on a war campaign. And again, let's be honest. This whole thing with Andrew Jackson, we still outnumber them 100-1 even to that point. The only reason Andrew Jackson was successful within his military campaign is because of the Creeks. Prior to the European, there was a lot of infighting. I keep saying it, I'm not going to stop. The Creek War had been going on for centuries. There were people who were born into that war and died in that war and never knew a time of peace. So the European came over here and ended that war, went to both sides. Family, before I tell you what Andrew Jackson did, tell me, please, what is the most popular European military campaign strategy. And I'll give you a hint. It's called divide. What is the most popular military strategy that the Tamahu, Flugelrod, and the troglodyte use? I'll give you a hint. It starts with divide and just 2 more words. Y'all better know it. You better know it. So anyway, while I'm waiting for you to give that answer, the family already got it. The first one is Hisoka. Shout out to you. And conquer. So they divided the Creek Indians up. And actually, they went to both sides. They said, hey, to one side, do you want us to help you? And they was like, nah, this is a family feud. This is, this is all in-house. Fine, all right. And then Andrew Jackson and the gang backed off. And then Andrew Jackson went to the other side and said, hey, do you want us to help you? Because basically by help, we mean we're going to give you some guns. The other side said yes. When that side said yes is when Andrew Jackson, that right there, changed the trajectory of European military success in America, for lack of a better word. So Andrew Jackson clicked up with the other half of the Creeks. He gave them guns, which tilted the war in their favor, and the sellout Creeks destroyed the I don't know how to describe them, but the ones that didn't want to work with the Europeans. And the ones that didn't want to work with the Europeans who got their ass kicked, guess where they ran to? They ran to Florida. Thank you. They ran their ass down to Florida. Clicked up with the ones in the Fort Negro and clicked up with the ones who were even further down south, who were later known as Seminoles. What's the root word of Seminole? Semi, a half-breed, a Semite. They clicked up, and then the war was fought in the South. And I'm not even going to lie. According to my research, Andrew Jackson got lucky. European Jesus was on his side. No disrespect to Negro Jesus. I'm being funny. Because they couldn't break the fortification of Fort Negro. And they were just shooting cannons out of a boat blindly all throughout the day, all throughout the night. And they got lucky and hit a artillery stash.
Yep, blew it up.
Blew that thing. They said body parts were in trees. Body parts were a mile down the street. They decimated Fort Negro. And because of that lucky shot, they named Fort Negro after Andrew Jackson, and that's where you get what city? Known today as what city?
Jacksonville. Come on now.
Jacksonville. So after Andrew Jackson kicked ass over there because of the divide and conquer strategy with the Creeks, and then with the lucky shot at Fort Negro. After those 2 incidents, he gains the upper hand, and then you have the Trail of Tears. The Trail of Tears was behind Andrew Jackson.
Well, let's add some value to that now.
Come on.
We have to understand, in succession, Andrew Jackson pushed what was called the Indian Removal Act. That's what that was called. That was called the Indian Removal Act. Now, later you'll see something like the Freedmen's Bureau would come up way later and try to restore some of that land to the people who were kicked off the land under Andrew Jackson's Indian Removal Act. The Indian Removal Act also forced those Seminoles out of Florida, and the Miamians. It's another tribe in Florida called the Miamians. The Miamians and the Seminoles, as you see right here, were also on an exodus out of that territory as well. And you see they went right to their kinsmen right here in what's called the lower panhandle of Louisiana, Poverty Point. area. We'll talk about Poverty Point here in a second. But this is the Exodus, or what's known as the Trail of Tears. And that was under germ warfare. They gave them the smallpox blankets under germ warfare, which was pretty cold. But they drove all the Indians off the parcels of land. Remember now, because James Oglethorpe was the founder of Georgia. This is James Oglethorpe. James Oglethorpe's son, Robert Duvall, as I told you, he was with Andrew Jackson. So it is Jacksonville, but it's Duval County. It's Duval. Duval is the county. That's the parcel of land that it belongs to under James Oglethorpe's son. So once Andrew Jackson kicked off that war campaign to push those Indians, he had a hatred for Indians. He hated them. Once he pushed them out of the territories of Georgia and through Alabama, because now James Oglethorpe took over that territory. And remember, this is all war strategy, because now they've gotten so bold, so they say we got 13 colonies. And the 13 colonies are operating as what's called the General Assembly. They're operating in what's called the General Assembly. There is no form of government yet. Not quite yet. They're still getting it together. So as they go up on what's called Western expansion, now they're getting to West Virginia. Now we try to go over the Mississippi, but the French had already had the Mississippi on lock. The British could not come past the Mississippi. So what we end up learning in school is just when we say European, the British version of the colonies. Spain was there 100 years before British even got there with 13 colonies.
Correct.
There were Spanish territories and French colonies been there before we even got there. In fact, the Black Christian codes, or the Black codes, come from an older code that the French implemented in Louisiana called Code Noir. Check the facts on that, because we ain't got to play with it. 1685. They don't talk about Negroes. The Europeans don't come in 1619. It's 1685, Code Noir. And this was implemented in the French colonies. See, on the Haitians, King Louis Boy, Code Noir. And the Christian Black codes got their cue from this. This is what they did to the Indians here in North America. They make you think they come out of Africa. No, they come here. Now, the Haitians, let me back up a little bit. The Haitians did come out of Africa. But sticking to North America, and back to my point, sticking to North America, James Oglethorpe, Robert Duvall, what's his name? Andrew Jackson. These were the key players in pushing the indigenous Indians out of South Carolina, Georgia, and much of Alabama out west under what the brother just said called the Trail of Tears. So I just wanted to add value to that and put a name with the face with the name, so you guys see who James Oglethorpe, what he looked like. And this is him actually sitting down with Chief Tamachichi and his tribe of the Yamacraw Indians. Anyway, all right, you press forward, brother.
Yeah, the Indian Removal Act is the Trail of Tears. The Indian Removal Act is the official name. Trail of Tears was the colloquial name. So now they sent them over there to the Midwest, and the so-called Indians, which by this time is $5 Indians, the so-called Indians create a bunch of casinos. If right now, if you go inside a casino, they will not accept a $20 bill. Can somebody?
You bullshit! Are you serious?
Somebody tell me, and if you know, that's awesome. If not, guess. Why won't they accept $20 bills in the casinos over there in the Midwest? Why won't they accept a $20 bill? Why would it be considered disrespectful to bring a 20? Hey, I got a 20. Can you give me change for it? Bitch, no. Take that shit out of here. Nobody want to see. Thank you. The reason they didn't want to, The reason it's disrespectful to throw a $20 bill in their face is because they got Andrew Jackson on it. What are you talking about? What are you guys talking about? Like,
wow.
And then they was like, they was gonna share. I think it was, they were talking about putting Harriet Tubman on the 20 with Andrew Jackson at one point in time.
She ain't no better. She ain't no better.
Come on, somebody.
Don't get me started on her.
Uh-oh.
Do not get me started on Harriet Tubman. Do not get me started on Harriet Tubman because the people ain't gonna like it. But it's the truth though. Research on Harriet Tubman. I think I call Harriet Tubman the first Department of Labor.
Stop it.
No. And what actually sparked me to really dig and research is the statement that Kanye had made. Remember Kanye had made a statement about Harriet Tubman?
Slavery was a choice or something like that?
Yeah, it was that, but he said something about Harriet Tubman. I forgot what he said. I'll look it up in a second. But that started me to do the research on Harriet Tubman. And come to find out, Harriet Tubman was taking the ancestors off the plantations and reselling them to a man named John Brown, who's a boat captain, a boat merchant. And John Brown was paying her money to bring him fucking slaves, and the slaves found out about it. It's not funny, but it's like, all right, Harriet, come on. Harriet scamming. I'm like, what in the world? And she never came past Maryland to free anybody. She didn't come to Alabama and Georgia. I know the movies will have you think she was traveling all up and down the Underground Railroad. However, my question is, the Underground Railroad, where is the station? Like, where does it start and end? She never traveled that far down. And I told you earlier, the slaves or the enslaved people trying to escape from the south to the north because they were captured in the north anyway. They were trying to go back. You know what I'm saying? Could you imagine if you're from New Jersey? Everybody from New Jersey right now, everybody from DC right now, everybody from New York, Pennsylvania, Virginia, North Carolina, all y'all listening right now. Imagine if y'all was kidnapped tonight and you woke up, you was in rural Alabama or rural Mississippi or the bottom of Louisiana, somewhere in a town, no cell phone, no, nothing. Once you find out where you are, you know where to go then, right? Back up north. So I just wanted to add value to that. But Harriet, man, I'm not going to go there with her. We can move on.
Well, I know we started in South Carolina and we ended up in the Midwest, but I want to go back to South Carolina real quick, or just the Carolinas, whatever you want to call it, because a lot of people talk about us being Indians and also us being Moors. And a lot of this conversation is going to be around Nobuju Ali.
Uh-oh. Wait a minute. Slow down. What'd you say? Wait a minute. You said, say it one more time. I don't think they heard you.
So, of course, we started this conversation in South Carolina for good reason, because it was a very pivotal point. Back then, South and North Carolina were jumping like South and North Carolina was like New York and New Jersey. Those were epicenters.
Right.
So now a lot of big names come from out there. I think South Carolina had more so-called black congressmen or whatever the case than any other state or whatever, because we were really prominent in those areas. And you have the likes of Nobuju Ali who come out of that area. And when you talk about the Moors, a lot of people who aren't really familiar with history, they don't understand there are two sets of Moors. There are the Moors of Europe who came in through Iberia, which was later named Spain. But you have the Moorish Science Temple and the movement in America. And a lot of times they talk about Moors as if that's something from Europe. The Moors are the Aboriginal. And Nobuju Ali is an Aboriginal Indian. That's what Dane Calloway don't want you to know. That's what.
Wait.
Hold
on, bro. You're saying that the Moors are the indigenous Americans of America?
Come on, somebody. So now, if you go look up Noble Drew Ali's parents, Noble Drew Ali parents ain't from no damn Morocco. What are you guys talking about? Noble Drew Ali parents from the fucking Carolinas.
Uh-oh.
We gonna have to talk about the Washita.
The brother don't went there. And see, to the listening audience, this is all peace and love. Because I know I'm also going live on my regular Facebook page too. This is all peace and love, y'all. I promise you it is. Let's jump back over here to these two right here were identified as Noble. People are like, who the fuck is Noble Drew Ali? Excuse my language. Who the hell is Noble Drew Ali? The same brother right here with that feather. I'll show y'all something. It's a crow's feather. Not saying that who that is, but that's the. Wait a minute, Jim Stone. Hold on, Jim. Jim don't jump the head. He don't jump the head. You about to ruin the turkey, man. You about to ruin the turkey, and I got all the stuffing. Wait. Slow down, champ. So this is Noble Drew Ali because I want to do a justice when I talk about Noble Drew Ali to the public. Because this is a public platform. In the private, whatever, but to the public, this is Noble Drew Ali. Write his name down, look him up, research him. You probably won't hear much about him in history. This is in America, 1920s. Smart, sharp brother. This is at a time, remember, this is in the 20s and the 17s and like the early 1900s. Slavery just had ended about 30, 45 years ago. Chattel slavery as we know it. It was still rough times at that time. His brother had the means to amass a large following. This is not, what's his name? Marcus Garvey. Not that movement. This brother came talking about nationality of an indigenous people. And what we're going to show you is, we're going to show you his parents and forefathers, because you are what your forefathers were without doubt or contradiction. You can't change the bloodline. We're going to go back and talk about the bloodline of this brother. So this is not a shot at the movement of the Moorish Science Temple of America. So I don't want any Moors to feel no kind of way about the information at all. I just want to put a disclaimer out there. Right. See, a lot of brothers are already up on game already. Noble Drew Ali came out. He was born in the state of North Carolina. And in the state of North Carolina, you have a group of individuals called the Natchez Indians. And the Natchez Indians, under the name Turner, this is Noble Drew Ali's parents, mother and father, as being shown. Elizzy Turner, Quitman, Pira, Blood-Lined Washita, Tunic. His father, John A. Drew Quitman, full-blooded Cherokee, Kohana, or Kohara. How do you pronounce that last part? Cherokee, full-blooded. Right here. What I want to focus on is the DNA of his mother. His father DNA counts as well, because they're both full-blooded. Hers says pure-blooded. His says full-blooded. Pure-blooded means indigenous from the beginning of time. Full-blooded could be native. That's why he looks like a Native American. And she's an indigenous from the Wichita people. Now, who are the Wichita people? I want y'all to pay attention. And we're going to come back. But this is how we got to teach it. We got to teach it in this order so you understand it. So we're talking about the Wichita people. Pull up my information real quick. This is the Wichita Nation. Now, some of you may or may not heard the Moorish temple. I'm not saying that this is the Moorish temple. This is not what the claim. Just follow me for a second. The Wichita, the Munjans, is an African-American group associated with the Moorish Temple of America who claim to be sovereign state of Native Americans within the boundaries of the United States of America. Let's start right there. Because I don't like the disrespect they even put on a situation from the beginning when they making things like the word claim. They claim to be sovereign within the boundaries of the United States of America. But watch this part, though. Here's where you got to research. Their name appropriated from the Oshitush tribe. Oshitush tribe. Write down Oshitush. I'm going to give you a second to write that down. It says the Oshitush are Native American tribes who lived in the northeastern Louisiana along the Oshitush River. I just showed you where they came out of Florida, the Exodus, and they went to the Panhandle, Louisiana. That's called Poverty Point. I'm going to show you Poverty Point in a second. Then I'm going to show you how the Oshitush and the Ouachita ties back to the ancient mound builders of North America, which is the vast estate. Then I'm going to give you my last piece of evidence and give you an elder who I had the pleasure of interviewing, who's a direct descendant of the Ouachita tribe. She's going to explain to you what I'm talking about. And we're going to show you the information. So Oshitush or Ouachita. I'm going to click on Oshitush. This is the Oshitush. And pronunciation Ouachita came about as a result of French settlers because the French had settled Louisiana. Remember, the French under, what's his name? Napoleon ended up selling Louisiana to Britain or to America, back to the British colonists on Louisiana Purchase. The French bought it from Spain first. Let's get into the information real quick. The Oshitush were loosely affiliated with they had a whole confederacy. It's a whole confederacy. Their traditional homelands were lower reach of the Oshitush River. Remember now, all I did was click the Oshitush back from the Ouachita. These people right here, you see, they be down in Louisiana at Mardi Gras with the big feathers on. These Indians, these Native Americans during Mardi Gras. These are these people right here. These are the people. The Ouachita Nation is headed by Vertices Hampton Golston, also known as Vertice Turner, as Empress Vertice Terra Ouachita Turner Golston. L. Bay, Islam. She was the mayor. She was the mayor of Witchwood, Louisiana, 1975 to 76, and again from 80 to 84. And is the author of the self-published book Return of the Ancient Ones. Golston asserted that the United Nations register the Wichita as an indigenous people number 215. Now, this registrar is a fact recognized by the United Nations as solely put by Noble Drew Ali to be recognized amongst the nations of the earth. They are recognized amongst the nations of the earth. This is the Wichita people, or Oshitush.
Brother,
go ahead.
Not to cut your wisdom, could you go back up to that lady's name one more time? I just want to make a quick point, and I'll pass the mic right back.
Turner. I was getting there. Let's go.
Well, no, I was going to actually know Vertice Tiara Ouachita Turner Golston, L. Bay. She has a niece. Her niece.
Islam.
The Minister of Information interviewed her niece. This is in real life. This actually happened, and she's up there in age. I think she might be 70, pushing 80. I'm sure she's not 80, but she's pushing. You know, she's somewhere maybe like 72. Right. I don't want to say. I don't want to disrespect her if she's not there. But anyway, the interview that the minister did with her was her very last. She's never done an interview after the Minister of Information. And I don't want you to, the listening audience, I don't want you to think that we're pulling from Wikipedia. We got this from the horse's mouth. Now, is it on Wikipedia as well? Yes, but the minister knows firsthand. I'm sorry.
Now, if you don't mind, brother, I wanted to actually play that recording that we had of the sister when we did the interview with her.
Different that we should know.
So I'm gonna put it on real quick. Now, this is her explaining the difference between the Washita Moors, because I didn't really get a chance to tap into that, but I'll definitely show it here in a second. She's gonna talk about the Washita Moors, M-U-U-R Moors. So write that down. We're not talking about the Moors from the Iberian Peninsula no more. So write down M-U-U-R, Washita Moors. And once as you write that down, I'm gonna now put her on so you can hear her talk about her perspective of the Moors, the Moor Science Temple in the M-U-U-R Moors. 1 second, hold on. Okay, here we go. This is her now. Hold on. There we go.
Until Bernie C. Goldston and myself and Nathan Jones reclamated it, did all the research all those years, and then you come forth as saying it's yours. How come you didn't get a United Nations number? Why did you have to wait to operate up under what the three of us did? And they were one of the reasons why I more or less pushed back from Bernie C. during that time, is when they came around and started expounding upon documents. I knew something was wrong then.
What relation are these ancient Moors? Are they in relation to the people of the Arawak or Raccoon people?
Yeah.
That's what the word.
Now, she was explaining how the Moors in the 70s attached themselves to their movement. That's why in the beginning of this this Wikipedia article, you see how they try to tie it back in. They say associated with these people right here. But the link is Noble Drew Ali. That's the link. And we're going to show you in a second. That's why Noble Drew Ali is in the vast estate. But I'm going to allow her to explain that to you all. And this is the second part of the interview. We kind of went into dealing with the presentment that we came out of a land called Mu. Now, I think she was the first person I heard really break it down or explain the land of Mu. So I'm gonna pull up the land of Mu as the sister explained how old we are. And the land of Mu sits between off the back of California, which makes sense for Queen Khalifa, and the Olmec heads right there in Central America. It makes sense looking at it that way, but let her explain it real quick. Hold on. And these are just interviews we did with her.
That we should know.
The Washita are Moors, M-U-U-R-S. The Moors, M-O-O-R-S, that you're talking about are not even from this continent.
Ooh.
I got a problem with that. Their inhabitants, is that Maghreb, Iberian Peninsula?
Al-Maghreb.
Yeah, Sicily and Malta. That's where they were during the Middle Ages. But I'm talking about the Washita, the first people who came over from the continent of Mu, the oldest people on Earth. This is how the United Nations is able to bestow upon the Washita Day pneumonia as the oldest indigenous people on Earth. See, you can't establish this over here if you don't have facts behind it. The other truth is Poverty Point. Right there in northeast Louisiana, my little hometown.
I know that some parts of Louisiana and Mississippi were considered to be great deltas of the mound building.
Now, where she ended it is what I'm showing you right now, if you can see it, is Poverty Point, Louisiana. I'm going to make this point and pass the mic. Now, The Washita people, who are also known as Oshitush people, are the direct descendants of these people right here. Hold on, where'd it go? They are direct descendants. Hope I didn't get rid of it. Of these people from this land called Mu. They're descendants from the land called Mu. And they're called Moors, M-U-U-R, Moors. That's what she was explaining. And they are an old ancient tribe. And what I'm tracing you back to is the fact that these individuals, the Oshitus, come out of Poverty Point. And Poverty Point is directly linked to the so-called mound builders in Poverty Point. And this river leads you right back up to the Illinois tribe. And what's called the Chocoha, the Chocoha Mountains, or Chocoha Mounds. These are an old tribe of Indians, so-called Indians and Native Americans. And I guess one day we should come back and do the difference between Indians and Native American, the terminology rather. But make sure you write down Poverty Point, Louisiana. Mound builders. This is what the sister was talking about, that the Moors, M-U-U-R, the Washita people come from this area right here. Now, I want to go back to where we was talking about the parents of Noble Drew Ali. Now, does it make sense when you see Elizzie Turner, Quitman, full-blooded Washita, after me showing you who the Washita people were, and you hearing the voice of a descendant of the Washita people, which is a tribe nationally, internationally recognized by the United Nations? See, tribes in America try to get recognized by the U.S. government. This tribe is recognized by the world government, if you want to say that. The League of Nations, as they once were called. This tribe is registered with the League of Nations. But please, you can continue, bro.
Yeah, brother, if you could look up Poverty Point is the oldest, I don't know what is the oldest tribe or the oldest nation or whatever the case may be. It is the oldest
Poverty
nation.
Point is the oldest.
And then go to Google. I'm sorry, not images. And do it again.
Poverty Point is the oldest nation. I said nation.
According to Wikipedia, the Poverty Point culture may have hit its peak around 1500 BC. It is one of the oldest complex cultures, and possibly the first tribal culture in the Mississippi Delta and in the present-day United States.
So now, if you go and look, this brother right here is all wise, right, and exact as well. The oldest mummy ever found in the United States. It wasn't in Memphis. It wasn't in the Grand Canyon.
Okay. I like it. I love it. So,
when the sister came on the M.O.I podcast and did her interview, she had a problem with the Moors, M-O-O-Rs. She said she's a Moor. She said that she is a Moor, M-U-U-R, and she has a problem with the Moors, M-O-O-R. She said exactly that, not exactly, but the Washita Nation was part of the 5 civilized tribes. I don't know if they were civilized tribes. Civilized with sellouts, and was usurped by the Moors, the Els, Bays. I don't know if that's supposed to be the days, but she said that when Noble Drew Ali was talking about giving the Moors the vast estate, Noble Drew Ali, what is your problem, bro? You giving away your family's land to some people who don't even deserve that land. You giving away your family inheritance? You sound like darn Esau. Giving away your birthright. So I know a lot of people, and I've been blocking people. Let's be clear. No one over here is begging you to subscribe. We're not begging you to watch. We're not trying to debate you or convince you of anything. But you're not going to troll over here. So I've been deleting the people because they don't understand. is more than one set of Moors. She said the Moors over there never even been to America. You talking about the people over there in Iberia, Morocco, El Maghreb. We talking about over here. A lot of you numbskulls don't even realize, no disrespect, I take that back. A lot of the family doesn't even realize there was more than just one set of Moors. And she herself said she don't even bang with that whole thing that Timothy Drew did. She said, listen, I don't agree with that. You can't give away the family property to these people in this damn quasi Masonic lodge. That Moorish Science Temple is damn near identical to the Masonic lodge if you want to talk about it. But I'm not here to talk crap about the Moors. I love Moorish science. Y'all know that. But at the end of the day, we're gonna have to tell the truth, the whole truth. If the minister always says, if you're gonna tell the story, tell the whole story. Stop cherry picking, family. The minister is walking you through the information. These Moors came from Mu by way of the Olmecs through poverty, through Mesoamerica, West Indies, Poverty Point, all the way up the Mississippi until you get to Cairo. Oh, Cairo, Egypt? No, Cairo, Illinois.
Okay. Hold on. Let's deal with something real quick. And I want you to keep that Cairo, Illinois comment right there, because I'm about to tie it in for you real quick. Poverty Point, back in Louisiana, is Poverty Point older than the pyramids? The Watson Brack site is unusual because its size, shape, 5,000-year-old at the Poverty Point site in West Carroll Parish. American Indians built rows of ridges as well as mounds. The LSU campus mounds are older than the pyramids of Egypt. This is in North America.
Does anybody know what older means?
This territory is older than Egypt. I know all my Hotep brothers and sisters with the unks and the ISIS tattoos and everything. You have stuff here that are older. In fact, this is Egypt. If you want to get right down and dirty to it, this whole territory is way older. This is the new world to Europeans and old world to us. This is their new world, not ours. This is what the pilgrims. We're still with theme of Thanksgiving, because this is the pilgrims and the Indians, and we haven't even got to cowboys and Indians yet, because that's later in history. But right now, understand the territory in Louisiana, the LSU, Louisiana State University campus mounds are older than the pyramids of Egypt. Now, I'm gonna go back to what you just said, to because you're using Illinois, right?
Yes, sir.
This is also in Illinois. Okay, I misspelled it. That's right. Come on. Okay, this is also in the area that's called Louisiana. I'm sorry. Yeah, Illinois. The earthen mounds of Chocoa offer some of the most complex archaeology sites north of central Mexico. This is in North America, by the way. It is truly a unique example of a complex social economic development of indigenous Americas prior to contacts with Europeans, all of them, Spain, French, all of them. There was a whole situation over here that you have to know about. You have to know about these things. This is part of what's called the Illinois tribe. And yeah, I'm scrolling through it so you guys can see it and look it up. Now I'm going to go dive into it to show you the history behind it. Watch this. And they call them Monk's Mound. And because they call them Monk's Mound because a lot of the Spanish monks would tear down a lot of these earthworks and build their own little monasteries with them. But this is I'm gonna read this and pass the mic, bro. But it's called Monk's Mound, pre-Columbian earthwork of America, and the largest pyramid of Mesoamerica. I mean, all those pyramids in South Central America, y'all be pulling up. Because I'm part of a group on Facebook. They're always showing the Central America pyramids. Like, these pyramids are the largest. In fact, these in Illinois are so big. Listen up, watch this. The beginning of its construction dates to 900 to 955 CE. That means around about what time? Not an actual time, like, you know. Anyway, the mound size was calculated in 1988 at about 100 feet, 900 feet long, access ramp, 775 feet. This makes Monk's mounds roughly the same size at its base as the Great Pyramids of Egypt. That's how big the pyramid in Illinois is. This is in Illinois. This is how big it is. It's bigger, as big as the one in Egypt. And the one in Poverty Point is older than the one in Egypt. And these tribes all spoke and talked because they all supply off the Mississippi River. And these are all riverways, waterways. And I'm going to show you in a second. I just want to show you how big it was. And these are pyramids. These are pyramids. Nah, these are mounds, bro. These are not pyramids. No, this is a pyramid. Let me just prove my point real quick, and I'm going to pass the mic. Truncated pyramid.
According to MathSpace,
to
find the surface area of a truncated pyramid, we add the base areas to the areas of the side trapeziums. To find the surface area of a truncated cone, we find the surface area of the original cone, minus the curved surface area of the removed cone, plus the base area of the removed cone.
The truncated pyramid. And without going too far in it, this is the truncated pyramid. This is ancient, indigenous, Indian, Native American. We'll deal with the titles later. But right now, I'm just trying to show you how old we were prior to European contact of the so-called pilgrims. You have pyramids here in North America. Now, you may not recognize this pyramid because you've been fooled by the other pointy pyramids. They've been misdirecting you to look at the pointy pyramids. In fact, this pyramid appears as a great seal. This is the great seal the Moors are talking about. This is the great seal, one of the great seals. This is the seal of America. Watch this. Seal on a $1 bill.
According to the U.S. Currency Education Program.
You see that truncated pyramid right here? Truncated pyramid. This is your land. This is your seal. Never mind the eye. I know that the eye is a little bit distracting, and I know it's distracting. The eye is there to distract you. But take away the pointy thing, which is the apex, which is called I won't get into it. Anyway, take the apex away, and that is a truncated pyramid on your land. And they're telling you this is a new world order. Not that it wasn't an old world, because we know Europeans didn't build no pyramids of nothing, nowhere on the planet. They ain't built anything of worth mentioning. This is your pyramid of North America. So now North America having pyramids or mounds, they got you thinking that to look over there. Watch this. I'll make one more point and pass the mic. Where do camels originate? Camels originated in North America. So I'm like, damn, camels in North America and pyramids in North America. Is this Egypt? This is Egypt. This is the oldest civilization. And this is what the sister was telling you. That's what she was explaining. The Washita people, along with several other tribes, are old. In fact, they come from what's called, watch this, the Mississippian culture.
According to Wikipedia.
Now, the Mississippian culture is what the brother was talking about earlier. Look at this map. This is before anybody came to set up shop on any part, to do any colonizing, to do any Thanksgiving dinner, to do any pilgrim hat. And the pilgrim hat is just a fez with a brim on it, by the way. Look that up.
Ooh.
Just like a cowboy hat is also a fez called a joel. Look it up. So anyway, this is before anybody comes from Europe. This is before the Indica Terra Cavina. This is an ancient empire that already existed that the Europeans did not get interested in until the fall of the Moors over there. Okay? When the Moors over in Europe fell to the Anglicans or Christendom, basically. And right after that, the Inquisition starts in Spain. There were so many dark Berber Moors still in Spain. Guess who comes for the booty or for the gold, they called it, or for the spoils of the New World? Spain is the first one to show up. Why does Spain know to come over here? Because remember, Europeans thought the earth was flat. Remember that in school? They chose Europeans didn't go too far off the front porch. They thought it was flat.
Not the front porch.
Because the way they showed the map, Europe is off the front porch of America. So they do show you stories of like some Vikings who happened to come to America, but they really came to Canada. They didn't come to North America, which is, I guess, still North America, but they came to Canada, the Vikings. But that was it, though. So before anybody sets up shop, this is the map of our people. This is one map. There's several ancient maps. But these green things are all pyramids. And you will see most of them right along the Mississippi River, just like over in Africa, right along the Nile River. And then see, Poverty Point is down here. Is a whole other society down here, Poverty Point, down here at the bottom. But many of your Arawak kinsmen down south, the Taino, the Caribs, all did trade. That's why when slavery starts in America, the cotton boom and the sugarcane plantation, you see a lot of trade happens right here. Right here. Because Georgia was getting busy exporting cotton too for a minute. And remember, Abe Lincoln basically, and this is not the map, I'm just showing y'all the map, not this map. But remember, Georgia couldn't export anything because right here was the blockade, but they were still booming cotton down here. So a lot of these territories and these locations are already cities. These are old cities that were already set up and established when Europeans got here. So now we know that the civilizations are older here in North America. Now we know we got pyramids. Now we know when we hear about the Moors, there are two sets, supposedly, or spellings rather. Let me put it that way: spellings of Moors. And to my Moorish Science Temple Moors, where is Mecca considered to be right now? When they say that they're gonna go to Mecca, what city and state are they talking about? Do you know, Crum? When the Moorish Science Temple say they're gonna go to Mecca,
Chicago,
where
Illinois.
Where about?
Chicago, Illinois.
Illinois. They're going back to Chicago. This is the same tribe. And if I really had time to really dive all into it, I really would, family. But I'm giving you nuggets to go do your own research. And I just wanted to clean up the fact that we're trying our best to tie this shit together. I'm sure you want one map real quick. You ever seen this map before right here? This is the United States, by the way. What's down on that? This is Indianapolis. This is Muhammad. This is Morocco. This is Chicago. It says the Holy Mountains of Harmonic. These are the mounds. Lake Michigan. Chicago's actually a little bit over here. But this is said the Moorish Science Temple. This is Morocco, or the pilgrimage they take to Morocco. This place is old, man. That's the whole point. I yield the floor on that.
Well, brother, I am humbled, honored, and grateful that you allowed me to be a part of this breaking bread, because we are going to have Happy Thanksgiving in less than 48 hours. I'm glad that we were able, that you allowed me to be a part of this to set the record straight. I'm going to have to bow out at this point. We've gone.
Yeah, I'm about to get off too.
2 hours. I want to thank all the family. I don't know where you're at in terms of on the internet, but wherever you're watching this from, hit the like button, hit the follow button, smash that subscribe button, throw something in the pot for the minister. He has definitely made this, in terms of food for thought, this was delicious. Thank you for having me, Minister. I yield the floor.
All right, brother. Peace and love. Hey, man. Thank y'all for tapping in. Really didn't really dive into everything I wanted to dive into. There's so much more information that I really wanted to share. But anytime I get on the mic with the bro, man, y'all already know. It be 100 miles an hour, man. So happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy the family. Enjoy some good food. Enjoy some good conversation. I did want to do my due diligence by sharing some of my research and what I saw and what I came across, knowing like, man, there's a lot of information that they didn't tell us, they didn't share with us, that we don't know about. And I just encourage y'all to read, bro. Like, do some reading, y'all. Just do a little bit of reading. And I think the information you come across, man, it's some profound information. But peace and love. I think I got my thing up here. If you did want to drop something in the bucket, feel free to do that. I'm gonna hop over here in these comments right quick. Bro, I'm coming. Go put a shirt on, man. Hold on, y'all. Hop in these comments right quick before I go. Peace and love to y'all, man. Peace and love to anybody that did the research and found out their ancestry. Peace to what's the brother name? Dan Calloway. Peace to Dan Calloway, bro. But also doing great works. Now the research Dan Calloway does is immaculate. Peace and love, family. It's been real. Appreciate you.
Hello, everybody. Recording live